Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If you've just found us, come on in and get comfortable, because today's topic is pure romance, wrapped in mystery, and sprinkled with the kind of clues that have the internet buzzing. We're diving into the whispers surrounding a dreamy escape that has left even the most skeptical fans sighing. Yes, we're talking about a getaway that centers on two people who've made sparks fly on screen and charmed audiences with their chemistry off it, Ozan Akbaba and Sinem Ünsal. If you haven't yet subscribed, now is the perfect moment. Tap that button, hit the bell, and don't miss a single heartbeat of our stories. This is the duo that stole hearts with their talent and presence. Ozan and Sinem, who, according to insider murmurs, decided to slip away from project meetings and studio lights to write their own private chapter, far from set life, far from microphones, just two artists trying to breathe and be. And while they have both been masters at keeping their personal lives guarded, what's a romantic retreat without a trail of soft hints for fans to piece together? Today, we're stitching together the murmurs, the crumbs, and the almost confirmations to relive that escape we can't stop imagining. Let's start where every good tale begins, the origins. When we mention Ozan Akbaba and Sinem Ünsal, we're talking about two actors who've defined eras in Turkish television, he, with his rugged intensity and old-school charisma, she, with a luminous warmth and quick-witted charm. Their shared scenes have always carried an electricity that viewers felt even when the cameras cut. It's no wonder people wondered if that connection could exist somewhere beyond the script pages. If the rumors are to be believed, that wonder became the spark for a quiet plan, one that started as a whisper and turned into a journey. Now for the question that keeps everyone curious, where did they slip away to? Early chatter tossed out the usual glossy suspects. The Maldives, with its glassy water and sunsets that melt into the horizon, seemed like the obvious backdrop for two people craving serenity. Then came the European fantasies, Paris with its twilight bridges and promises sealed under street lamps, or Rome, draped in shadows of history and slow afternoons that taste like forever. But as the days passed, speculation narrowed, and the most credible hints pointed closer to home. Some were intimate, scenic, and steeped in the textured quiet that nourishes closeness. Cappadocia. The name kept surfacing again and again. A landscape that looks dreamed into existence, sculpted valleys painted in rose and ochre, stone villages that remember legends, and dawn skies stippled with hot air balloons like secret wishes rising. The whispers said that Ozan and Sinem chose that very place, not for show, but for sanctuary. The idea alone could make a person close their eyes and see it. Two silhouettes at sunrise, wind cool on their faces, hearts beating in sync with a land that has watched love stories for centuries. If that's where they went, what did their days look like? Imagine them before sunrise, wrapped in layers against the morning chill, stepping into a wicker basket and holding their breaths as the ground slips away. The world opens beneath them, soft hills, fairy chimneys, fields brushed in gold. There is a hush up there, that tender hush where words feel unnecessary because the scene speaks for you. Maybe they stood shoulder to shoulder, exchanging a look that said, "Remember this," because who could forget that light, that view, that strange, floating calm? Cappadocia isn't only about the sky, it's also a labyrinth beneath. It's easy to picture them ducking through cave doors and ancient tunnels, tracing fingerprints of time in soft stone, the echo of their footsteps disappearing into the earth. Maybe they walked through valleys that curl and bend like a painter's brushstroke, stopping only to absorb the silence or to lean in for photos they promised not to post, at least not yet. And when it came to food, well, how could anyone resist? Meals that invite you to linger, tandoor so tender it falls at the touch of a fork, and sweets soaked in stories as much as syrup. Perhaps they even rolled up their sleeves in a cooking class, trading glances over simmering pans, laughing when flour dusted their hands like a playful blessing. Of course, that's the spell of a tale like this, the blend of what's seen and what's guessed. In a world that shares too much, a little privacy becomes the most intriguing ingredient. And yet, as always, social media offered breadcrumbs. Those who follow closely noticed careful snapshots, a horizon with colors that felt suspiciously like Cappadocia's dusk, a caption that said everything by saying very little, a dish that locals instantly recognized as a regional specialty. It didn't take long for comments to bloom, fans connecting the dots and whispering, "No way this is coincidence." Here's what we've gathered from those quiet signals. Sinem, ever selective with what she reveals, shared a sunset that looked painted with Cappadocia's signature palette: rose, amber, the faintest hint of violet. No location tag, of course. Just a thought about stillness. Shortly afterward, Ozan posted a plate that food lovers immediately spotted, a hearty regional dish, rustic and comforting, the kind that tastes better after a day of wandering. Separate posts, but a rhythm between them that felt like a conversation. And if you believe in digital poetry, that's all it took. But as with any story that trends, there was confusion. Some followers whispered about a third presence, someone whose name sounded familiar enough to muddy the waters, someone people assumed might be tied to the entertainment world. This is where the narrative takes its little twist. The latest, most grounded reports suggest that if a third person surfaced at any point, it wasn't a rival or secret partner, but a long-standing friend from Ozan's close-knit circle, someone who knows how to travel quietly, who understands the value of giving space to a couple intent on finding their own corners of peace. No scandal, no triangle, just a companionable presence orbiting the edges so the heart of the getaway could stay what it was meant to be, theirs. And when we think about it that way, everything clicks into place. Imagine these two beneath a cosmos of stars, the air brushing their faces cool and clean, the campfire doing that slow, mesmerizing dance that makes people open up. They might have shared stories about first auditions and lucky breaks, about plans they dare to say out loud and hopes they keep folded inside. Laughter would come easily, silence would, too. They could sit that way for hours, just letting the night hold them. And if the friend was around at times, it would have been with the easy comfort of someone who knows when a moment is complete without another word. Ozan has always carried that stillness of a man who measures twice before speaking, a presence that makes you feel he sees more than he says. Sinem's brightness is a counterpoint, quick, attentive, alive to details and gestures that most people miss. Together, they make sense. Like a scene where the director doesn't need music because the actors fill the frame. Fans notice that. They notice when two people seem to move through the world in tandem, watching out for each other, matching moods even when they aren't trying. This escape, whether whispered or real, let us picture them as people first, two artists finding room to breathe. We shouldn't forget the effect trips like this have on everyone watching. One pair of celebrities chooses mountains over spotlights, and suddenly thousands of followers are looking up train schedules, saving photos of cave suites, checking sunrise times for balloon rides. That's the gentle power of influence when it's subtle rather than loud. It reminds us to collect experiences, to find the corners where we can hear our own thoughts, to taste food with our hands if we have to look into the eyes of the person beside us and say nothing because nothing is needed. Now, did they truly go? The evidence is suggestive but never loud. That's part of the allure. The breadcrumbs were enough to make a story, and the silences were enough to keep it precious. Perhaps that's the point. Maybe they wanted something they wouldn't have to explain in interviews or wrap into sound bites, a memory that belonged to them first. Maybe they will share more one day, a behind-the-scenes photo, a snippet of laughter, a sunlit window in a stone room that looks suspiciously familiar. Or maybe they won't, and we'll be left with the soft thrill of not knowing. Still, the picture we've pieced together feels vivid. Cappadocia, with its dialogue between sky and earth, gave them mornings that floated and evenings that glowed. Days drifting between valleys and workshops, soft afternoons ending with clinking glasses and plates that emptied far too quickly. The gentle ritual of walking back to a room carved from rock, where the walls catch secrets and keep them warm. The quiet of waking up next to someone who understands why you chose a place where the horizon looks like a promise. As the whispers grew, so did the online detective work. Fans zoomed into textures of stone, compared shadows, matched the angle of a terrace railing to a boutique hotel photo from a travel blog. The more attentive ones noticed Ozan's preference for understated captions and Sinem's deft way of turning a simple image into a mood. Together, their posts hummed with a shared tempo, separate yet synchronized, like two melodies that only become complete when you hear them at the same time. Coincidence? Some will insist yes. Most will smile and say, "We know what we saw." Meanwhile, chatter about that mysterious third presence found its resolution. No celebrity cameo, no hidden co-star rendezvous. The reliable voices confirmed it was just a trusted friend in the background, there for logistical help at most. A driver, a fixer, a guardian of quiet in a place that can fill up with tourists by noon. Once that was understood, the narrative relaxed into what it was always meant to be, a portrait of two people, aligned and at ease, writing their own off-screen scene. We've learned something from the way they handled it, too. There's a grace in not oversharing, an elegance in leaving room for wonder. In an era when every moment is a post, choosing restraint is its own romance. Ozan and Sinem have always carried themselves with that dignified softness. They let the work speak loudly, and when it comes to what's tender, they speak in whispers. It's no surprise that even a few cryptic images could make an entire audience lean closer. So here we are, imagining the final night of that escape. Maybe there was a last balloon ride, or a simple walk along a ridge where the wind tugged at their sleeves. Maybe they sat close at dinner, hands brushing as they reached for the same dish, promising each other they'd come back when life got noisy again. A toast, perhaps, to a journey that nourished them more than a dozen vacations could, because it wasn't about getting away from work, it was about moving toward each other. We've pieced together the likely setting, Cappadocia, and the rhythm of their days, skies, stone, food, quiet. We've watched the rumor swell and then refine, we've examined the clues, and we've listened to the thoughtful hush that always surrounded their names. The essence is clear. Whether it unfolded exactly as imagined or a shade to the side, it was a chapter of connection and care. The kind that doesn't need confirmation to feel true. Tell us what you think. Was Cappadocia the destination, or did they slip to another hidden corner? Did you catch any clues we missed? Share your theories in the comments, we love reading the threads you spin. And if this little journey made your heart softer or your bucket list longer, give this video a like, pass it to a friend who believes in romance, and of course, subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets so you don't miss the next whisper, the next clue, the next story that makes us all want to pack our bags and follow the sunrise.